lifestyle and asset protection. For us, it's all about risk management. We can either retain the risk or we can transfer the risk. Our general risk management approach is to retain risk if it's a minimal negative impact. If it's it would have a large negative impact, generally it makes sense to transfer that risk. Now, as we're going through life, there are generally three common concerns people have to varying degrees, depending on their situation, as well as where they're at in their different phase of life. Number one is dying too soon and the financial impact that would have on the people around them they care about. Number two is having an accident, an illness that affects their ability to work, reduces their income, and the financial impact that would have on them, their family, their lifestyle. Area number three, where everyone hopes to go, is living a long and healthy life and having the financial resources in place to support that. Now, our general approach is to retain things that have a minimal negative financial impact and to look to transfer the situations that would cause a large negative financial impact. So the questions to ask yourself as you're going through, we don't know what's going to happen. So we need to plan that any of these outcomes could happen at any time. So while we're going for growth of our retirement dollars, right, we also need to factor in there's potential loss there, right? If the market has a bad period, a negative period. But also, what happens if we don't get to that ideal retirement lifestyle because event number one or event number two happened, right? So it's this type of planning, we call it hope for the best, but protect against the worst, right? And once you go through different phases of your life, you can say, oh, I'm retired. I don't need to protect my income anymore, right? But if you're 20 years from retirement and you're planning on taking a portion of your income and putting it to your long-term retirement savings and you don't have your income protected, that's a huge gap area that could cause a lot of problems for you if situation number two happens to you. So there's a lot that goes into this. This is an area that I typically add a lot of value for clients in. I typically see that there's unaddressed areas. I also see that people have some protection, but not necessarily the right type of protection. I oftentimes see that people have protection in place for a long time, but they don't need it anymore because they've transitioned to a different phase, or there's a different type of protection that they need. Once they get to retirement, they don't need their income protection, but now they need their long-term care protection to protect their other assets. And when we talk about asset protection, we're not talking about the legal kind, the type of asset protection that you involve attorneys for to protect your assets from creditors, lawsuits. We're talking about protecting the assets that you've accumulated from forced distribution from one of those other situations. So for example, as you're saving for retirement, if you don't have your income protected and you have a negative event happen, most people would have to deplete their retirement savings to support today's lifestyle, right? If you don't have the right type of protection in case you pass away sooner rather than later, and you have a family that depends on you, instead of that long and that retirement, right, those assets are going to have to be depleted to support today's lifestyle. So those are the things to factor in. These are the areas that we ask questions at and we look to have great answers for as we're transitioning through life.